Well, hi YouTubers. Okay, I'm back with Fees for 100 Books, and it's Excelsior. The Amazing Life of Stanley by Stanley and George Marr. Now, I really, really enjoyed this book. Now, I'm into my comics, however, sorry to disappoint everyone. I'm a DC girl. Okay, sorry, DC. I'm DC. Okay, not reason Batman Beyond I'm reading at the moment, but yeah, I've always been a fan of the Bat family. So, but yeah, I'm a DC girl. I mean, I only really got into Marvel when back in the 90s when the X-Men animated cartoon came out. I didn't realise that Incredible Hulk was Marvel. I was a geekling for a very, very long time until I was 14 when I went into a comic book store and found, you know the moment you become, that moment. Okay, so. But I love my comics. The first comic I ever read was Generation X. Okay, as a teenager, I went from one teenage things, and Generation X and Gen 13. Then I graduated to the Robins, and then the Nightwings, and yeah. So I'm a girl who's into her comics. Yes, I know. So, oh, that stereotype you okay? No, you watch a Big Bang Theory. The girls walk into a comic book store and everyone looks. Okay. That's never happened to me, maybe because I look like this, or because all I ever get in my comic book store, Calamity Comics and Howard, by the way, is, hi Jodie, how's it going? Okay? So girls can be into comics, and I really, really hate the people who are like, oh, because they design like this, they're all like, it's sexist, yada yada. Listen, it's a goddamn comic book. I've never been, more boys read comics than girls. I never ever whinged about it, because it's art. Okay, I absolutely hate people like, oh my god, they look like this. I don't care. Look at Batman. Look what he looks like. Okay, but I've always loved the X-Men just because of the fact, okay, like these mutants and misfits and trying to find a family. And I always like the cartoon. I love the films. So yeah, DC is more TV shows. Marvel is the films. I saw Black Panther yesterday, by the way. Yes, I enjoyed it. So Excelsior, The Amazing Life of Stanley by Stanley and George Marr. Now, I'm not going to read the below at the back because there's no point. It's Stanley. Everyone knows who Stanley is. But this book I love. Now, this book is not long, okay? This book is just over 200, not even 250 pages, okay? But this book just reminds you of how great Stanley is. Now, Stanley is a very diverse character in comics, okay? And he admits that and embraces that. He admits how he's totally screwed up. This book talks about his early life. Being Stanley Lieber, sitting with his parents, reading and trying to get in touch, and writing and this spark of his imagination. This book talks about his family struggle. This book talks about the fact is he's 9 years old and his brother Larry, so they weren't really that close. Okay, so, and I love this bit, how Stanley Lieber became Stanley. Okay, I was caught up in the fantasy of using a pen name, something suitable for strips, while saving my real name for this saga that may be immortal. And that's how Stanley was born. I simply cut my first name in half and slightly changed the Y to a second E. The ironic part, all of that was to save my real name, Stanley Martin Lieber, for the prize-winning novel I would one day write. The ironic part is I recently wrote a novel, The Alien Factor. I have to try to get that. Together with a talented collaborator named Stan Timmins. The only name my publisher would let me use was Stanley, because he said that's the only name the public knows. Yeah, but the guy who wrote Pinocchio, that was a pen name, saving it for his real work, and he'd be his Pulitzer Prize winner. But it never happened, so Stanley Lieber became Stanley, and we love the guy. Listen, first of all, this is a bias of you because I love Stanley, okay? I love what he's done. He created a new mythology, a 21st century, 20th century, 21st century mythology. He created our new gods, okay? But this book shows his frailties as a human, okay, as well. Now this thing, okay, it's shortly after he's married to his wife Joni, who did sadly pass away this year. So this was nice reading, Stanley's 95, okay, let's be honest. There's one thing I'll never forget during those early days of newlywed, before the age of political correctness. I decided to start as I meant to finish, to declare myself master of the household, right up front. So I said to Joni, you've got to give up modelling and any thought of ever again being an actress. I don't want a wife of mine to work. I expected an argument, or at least a token protest, but Joni smiled sweetly and said, okay honey, if that's what you want. It was the biggest mistake of my life. That talented creature would certainly have become a star, and I could have been one of the idle rich. Instead, she devoted herself to keeping house, decorating, cooking, entertaining, charming our friends, and becoming a world-class state-of-the-art shopper. Well, I kept telling myself, Stan, you've got a big mouth, but I wouldn't change any of it. He admits he screwed up in that, okay? He admits he's not perfect, okay? Which I actually like, okay? It shows his frailties as a human. But this, okay? This is fucking back a bit. This is his army bit, okay? Stan went into the army to be a soldier, fight the war. He wound up writing recruitment videos, and he still did his comic work on the side. I like the fact, okay, that, yeah, so, this bit here, this is a bit, I couldn't believe it. The army felt it found something more important for me to do than guarding New Jersey from impending enemy invasion. They wanted me to write training films. It wasn't until I discharged 3 years later that I learned, when I read my discharge certificate, that the army in its infinite wisdom had actually classified me as a highly trained combative signal rider specialist. Not, but as a playwright. Not quite the macho image I longed for, but I learned to live with it. Okay? It is quite funny how he got started. It's supposed to be just a job, like a small job for a teenage boy, and working for Timey Comics. And then, by the age of 18, he's pretty much running his department. And he felt like a fraud most days. It is quite interesting to see how comic books worked. I mean, the thing is with comic books now, we know quite quickly if they sell or not. Back then, you would wait months to get your figures back if a comic book sold or not. It was just throwing it out there and see what worked, you know? And back then, comic book stores, if you will, didn't exist, okay? Not like Calamity Comics or Forbidden Planet. You got yours at newsstands, okay? Or that kind of thing. There wasn't a specific shop for, you know, there was no geek culture back then. There was no geeks. I think Stan Lee gave birth to the modern geek, if you will, okay? Well, Stan Lee, that time period gave birth to the progression of the geek culture, okay? From comic book stands, you get these artists coming together. People started discussing what they liked. You had science fiction coming as time shifted on, okay? That makes sense, okay? So, I mean, let's face it, I got a Comic-Con, it's weird. I'm like, God, we're cool now? Fucking full Comic-Con, okay? This book touches on a seduction of the gullible, okay, or seduction of the innocent, which kind of really put a dent in the comic book world, okay? So, the Doctor's child as superheroes was the arousing children of fantasies of sadistic joy in seeing other people punished over and over again, while you remain immune. We call it the Superman complex, shades the Nazis of their Aryan theories. Wolfram also suggested that superheroes had sexual affairs with their teenage companions in comic books, and that romantic comic books were enticing young girls who turn to prostitution. Seduction of the innocent. What a load of shit. But that really had a dent on the comic book world. Okay? Really had a dent. But this book, I listen, this Stanley writes how he talks. At the end of virtually every single chapter, I was sitting there thinking, enough, I actually said several times, enough said. I read this, hearing Stanley's voice in my head, which wasn't that bad, because Stanley's awesome. Okay? It's quite funny, this new mythology, Stanley was going to quit. He was going to quit, okay? He wasn't happy with the way his career was progressing, he wasn't happy with the situation, and he was going to quit comic books. And then his wife, Joni, God bless her, said, that night I told Joni of my decision. She was completely supportive, but then she added something I hadn't thought of. You know, Stan, if Martin wants you to create a new group of superheroes, this could be the chance for you to do it the way you've always wanted to do. You can do up plots that have more depth and substance to them, and create characters who have interests and personalities who speak like real people. God bless her. God bless her. And that was a Fantastic Four, by the way, she was talking about. So, and then Spider-Man. Now, everyone said, okay, who created Spider-Man? Steve Ditko, or was it Stan Lee? Both of them, okay? Stanley said, I've told a story so much it probably is true, okay? But I love this chapter because it's hate Spider-Man. So, for months I've been toying with the notion of a superhero, one who would be more realistic than most, despite his colourful superpowers, okay? I told Martin I wanted to feature a superhero who just had a charge of super strength, but his main power was that he could stick to walls and ceilings. I confess that I got the idea from watching a fly on the wall what I had been typing. I can't remember if that was literally true or not, but I thought I'd lend it a little colour to my pitch. I was mentioning that a hero who I wanted to call Spider-Man would be a teenager with all the problems, hang-ups and angst of any teenager. He'd be an orphan, living with his aunt and uncle, a bit of a nerd, a loser in the romantic department, and constantly worried about the fact that his family had barely enough to live on. Because back then, superheroes, teenagers, they were psychics. He was going to be the lead. So, you know, I like Spider-Man. I like every single incarnation of Spider-Man gives a little bit something different. I love the animated series, though, Spider-Man the animated series, because that was my first entry into Spider-Man. I was a lonely geek. So who created Spider-Man? It goes in, okay, there was an antagonistic relationship between who created him. But the way Stan Lee presents it as, he didn't care, give it credit to both, okay? I came up with the idea, you come up with the art, and that's take it like that. Stan Lee's a writer, he's not an artist, okay? But it talks about how, now this is further along, now I'm wrapping this review up, okay? Alright? We talk about friendships. Oh my god, I dorked at this one. Talk about his friends, okay? Then there was Batman creator Bob Kane. Joey and I regularly had lunch with the talented, loquacious Bob and his charming actress wife Elizabeth, often together with the most prolific and amusing director Larry Coleman. But it was a contest. You see, the Kanes seemed to be perfectly incapable of arriving at a restaurant on time, so we tried to be a few minutes late ourselves in order to match their arrival. But no matter how late we were, they managed to arrive even later. It reached the point where the only way to beat them was not show up at all. They finally won our last contest, but not appearing to be finished dinner, and telling us they'd gone to the wrong restaurant. Whoa. Stan Lee and Bob Kane were friends. The creator of Batman, along with Bill Finger, okay? The creator of Batman, and Stan Lee, the creator of the Marvel mythology, if you will. Friends. Oh my god. Someone needs to turn that into a book. A film. Oh my god. The Adventures of Stan Lee and Bob Kane. I don't know. I want to know about this friendship. What did they talk about? What did they talk about? Did they discuss? Oh my god. Okay, right, stop geeking out. But one thing I love is this. Now, Stan Lee is brilliantly self-deprecating, okay? Because this book came out in 2002. He's got no idea what's coming. Read this, okay? It's when we talk about from Spidey to Spider-Man and being in the head of it. I'm sure people wonder why a big star like me would do a humble walk-on. After all, I didn't have a leading role in Kevin Smith's Mallrats. Wasn't I a feature play in Larry Coleman's The Ambulance? Isn't it a coincidence that none of the films were box office blockbusters? If film wants me to jinx a movie, call my agent. I'm available for a major role. Although, come with it, I also appeared in X-Men and the film was a smash hit. That's probably because I was only on screen for a couple of seconds and positioned way in the background with not a word to say. Bryan Singer, the director, sure knew what he was doing. Stan Lee, my friend, you've got no idea what's going to happen. You were on the cusp of being... I love that scene in Mallrats, by the way, because I choked, okay? I was about 18, okay, with a mate. We're like, is that really Stan Lee? I think that's Stan Lee. Goes, oh my god, it's Stan Lee. So, I'm going to come up here, I've been chatting now for 15 minutes, and my friend's about to run that camera, recommending this book. The way he writes is the way he speaks. This book was done before the whole big Marvel explosion. And let's face it, none of us are immortal, but Stan Lee has found immortality. That is what you have to think about. His books, we'll be discussing them 100 years from now. So, sign off here, true believers.